Hi students, and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian. I'm streaming to you from beautiful Central Europe. I hope everybody has had a great week and is looking forward to an even better weekend. Hi Milan, hi Erkin, hi Style Jin. Welcome students. In this class, we are looking at the reading section, and we're going to discuss how you can read to get that confident band 9, that high score, that perfect score that everybody's looking for. This lesson is presented to you by aehelp.com. For academic IELTS success, visit us there. For the general IELTS, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's generalieltshelp.com. On both of our websites, we have lots and lots of reading materials, as well as help with the other sections. We have HD videos, interactive practice exams, as well as a full course with strategies and tips you can use on your phone, on your tablet, on your computer. This is our academic website here with the blue background. You can click that big red button to join the premium package there. And this is the general with the green background, and you can click that big red button to join the premium package on that account. Anmal, thank you very much. I appreciate your compliment. That's very kind of you. All right. Students, so Instagram, new accounts. We have new Instagram. Follow us on Instagram. IELTS_AEHelp for the academic and GIELTS help for the general. You can follow us on those Instagram accounts. You can use the code INSTA25 to get a 25% discount on our websites. Right now, we're promoting the Instagram account, so make sure to use that. If you have questions, send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. Anmal, the best way that I can guide you for all of your IELTS preparation is to tell you to go to aehelp.com or gieltshelp.com and use one of those websites from start to finish. You have everything you need there to get ready for the exam. We help thousands of students every day. Okay, everyone, so reading right now. Tomorrow, a couple more live classes. We will have speaking part 2 for members. As I said, members will finish the conclusion tomorrow as well. And then speaking part 3 for everyone. So look forward to that. Hi, Yarabisha, Abhishek, Nikhil. There are the members in the class. Okay, let's get going on today's reading. So here we go. This is our reading passage for today. Hopefully you can see that clearly. It's a little bit of a colorful title here. So the title is Tourism and the Cuban Economy. And then you have this beautiful postcard-like picture here with a parasol, a couple of beach chairs, nice little sandbar, and then you have that beautiful blue ocean, little island in the distance. And the title is Tourism and the Cuban Economy. And we talked a little bit about how to use the title of your reading yesterday. So let's go back to that. So I still have some of those notes from yesterday. So remember, I said you always want to look at the title, visualize. Right now, you're a tourist in Cuba, and you're affecting their economy. You're paying. What are you paying with? What do you think what kind of money are you using in Cuba? So it's tourism and the Cuban economy. So right away you start to visualize. You've got your beach gear on. You've got your swimsuit on, your swimming costume if we're going British. And you're on the beach and you're sipping on a margarita. You're ordering a nice fish for lunch. And you're paying, of course, for these foods because you're part of the economy now in Cuba. What are you paying them with? What are you giving tips with? What are you using? What kind of money? Anybody? Moria says, I think traveling is the main source of income for Cuba. I don't know about that. Coffee's pretty big in Cuba and a couple other products. Abhishek says, I'm using my travel card, some dollar. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah, all right. You're definitely using a credit card at some points. Yeah, Kashirsha says, maybe the peso. Okay. Yeah, Honey says the Cuban local currency. Sure, why not? Lauren says dollars, I suppose. Yeah, well, we'll find out. But the good news is you're thinking about it, you're visualizing it, you see yourself paying and buying some souvenirs and enjoying yourself in the sun. That's great. So then you're also thinking about the title. So you're thinking what, why, how, and in this order. So you're thinking what, firstly. What is this passage going to be about based on the title? Okay, so what do you think the answer is to that? So again, for those of you who are just joining right now, our reading is tourism and the Cuban economy. What do you think the passage will be about based on that title? Okay. So Furkan says Cubans' tourism and its impact on their economy. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that makes sense, Furkan, right? We don't need to reinvent the wheel. Just go with what we see there. So the way that international tourism affects the local Cuban economy and way of life. Okay, so yeah, I'll take that for sure, and then a little bit more detail. Okay, Oa says the Cubans' economy depending on tourism. Okay, maybe the dependence of the Cuban economy on tourism. Yeah, that could be it as well. Absolutely. Okay, that's what OS is saying. Sure. All right. Why? So the next question is why? Okay. Now, what's the full question? So notice how here I just have why ... That's because I don't have the full question here. I want you to think about the full question. What is the why question? And you're always going step by step here very quickly in your thoughts. Okay, so what is the passage going to be about based on the title, the way that international tourism affects the local Cuban economy, the dependence of the Cuban economy on tourism? Why? Why are we, what do you think is the big why question? Okay, Yarabisha says, why does tourism deal with the Cuban economy? All right, that's a good thought, Yarabisha. Nick Hill says, why the Cuban economy depends on the tourism. Okay. Yeah, so the question is important here. So why does tourism have a noteworthy impact on the Cuban economy? So that would be the right question to ask. Good thinking, students, good essays, good scores on the IELTS, and other parts of life in university as well, often come not from the right answers, but from the right questions. I didn't come up with that wisdom. That wisdom has been thought of by many, many people before me throughout the ages. But good thinking, good results come from good questions, not good answers. So always work on developing your questions. Why does tourism have a noteworthy impact on the Cuban economy? Noteworthy means it's worth mentioning. Worth mentioning. Why do you think? Why does it play a huge role? Yeah, okay, so Firdaus, very good. So Firdaus says Cuba has a lot of shoreline, a lot of beaches, and the weather is great for tourism. So absolutely, because Cuba is a tourist hotspot with lots of beautiful beaches and sunshine. Absolutely. Why else? Yarabisha says, because perhaps Cuba has many tourist attractions, especially along the shorelines. Yeah, of course. They're in the middle of the ocean, right? Close to the equator. Okay. Why else? Sandeep, do not skip the title of the passage. That's a really bad idea. Okay? The title of the passage when you think about it and you think about it quickly and well, can help you to save a half a band to a full band score. Okay. All right, when you're going to travel to a nice beach destination, there are lots of them, right? Thailand, Jamaica, Caribbeans, places in India, Goa. So you're thinking beautiful beach, clean water. What else do you consider when you're planning to go there? Okay, Costa Rica, Hawaii. Okay, why do you think somebody might go to Cuba instead of Hawaii? So quick thinking, okay? Ferdov says maybe it's safe, it has good food, okay? It's safe. There is good food. It's true. What else? There's one big one. People's attitudes. Yeah, Ferdov's very good. It's cheap, right? That's the magic recipe. Everyone wants to vacation in a beautiful place for little money, right? So it's cheap. All right, not cheap, cheap. There we go. Good. So, how? How is it beautiful and cheap? Okay, so give me an example of this. Get right into the example, right? So how can it be attractive to tourists and cheap? Give me an example. When you're thinking about the how, you're thinking about the case study. You're thinking about the example. Okay? This is the answer for the how question that you should be thinking about. Okay? So you're always thinking about an example, not an explanation. So I'm on a 5-day vacation with my family at a 5-star hotel, sipping margaritas all day, and it cost me a total of $500 US. Boom. Okay? So that would be your example of that, all right? So I'm on a 5-day vacation with my family at a 5-star hotel in Cuba. I'm sipping on margaritas all day, and it's costing me a total of $500. Okay? That's what you want to do with the title. How much time should it take you? So when you read this title, okay, and you're training yourself in the weeks leading up to your official IELTS exam, and you read the title, Tourism and the Cuban Economy, how long should it take you if you did the studying at home and you know what you're doing? How long should it take you to come up with the what, why, how, and the answers? International tourism's effect on the local economy, the way of life, its dependence on tourism. Cuba is a tourist hotspot. It's got beautiful beaches, great food, great people. It's cheap. Like I'm sitting on the beach with my family, 5-star hotel, sipping on a margarita, and it's costing me like $500. Yeah, Ferdov says 10 seconds. Come on, guys, quick thinking, right? Yeah, 10 to 30 seconds. That's it, okay? It sounds like, oh, really? But yeah, really, okay? When you practice, you can do it, okay? Read the title, understand it, think about these ideas, and you're going to improve your chances to get a higher band score because your brain is in tune with the information. Is that clear, everyone? So all of this thinking should take you 10 to 30 seconds after reading the title, and you can improve your band score by at least a half by being in tune with the information. Yeah? Everybody got it? It shouldn't even take you 2 minutes, Lauren. Shouldn't even take you that, okay? Yarabisha, the topic shouldn't be far from your brain. IELTS isn't meant to confuse you, okay? All right? You got to think. That's why you practice, Yarabisha. That's why you practice, so that you can do it quickly. Okay, cool. All right. So let's get into it. Next step, look at the questions. See if they can help you even more to understand the passage and to digest the information. So here we go. Question 33. So this is the final passage here. Question 33. Which is not given as a reason for the stagnant Cuban economy. Now, ideally, if you can, you want to paraphrase that. Okay, so I would paraphrase that as, this is not a factor for the still economy of Cuba. Okay, stagnant means not moving, not changing. Okay, students, this is an English class. It's an IELTS class. So if you catch a new word and I'm defining it, write it down, add it to your answer sheet. Furkan, it's not the same as stable. Okay, stagnant is negative. Stable is positive. Stable means that the economy is strong and surviving. It's not changing. Stagnant means that the economy is not changing and it's bad. It's poor. Okay, so good try, Furkan, but there's an important difference between stable and stagnant. Stable is positive. Stagnant is negative. They seem to be the same words, but one's positive, one's negative. Very interesting, Furkan, okay? So stagnant means unmoving, unchanging, okay, in a bad way, okay? So it's a low economy, it's unchanging in a bad way. Raghav says it's a stalemate, it's a deadlock, okay? All right. Okay, so you keep paraphrasing. Answers, don't worry about it, okay? This doesn't help you. What can be said about Cuban salaries? So Cuban salaries are, it's pay. Salaries, Cuban pay is ... So I'm taking the question of the multiple choice, I'm changing it into a statement from a question, so not a question mark, but a period, and I'm doing a bit of paraphrasing. So instead of using salaries, pay, okay, or instead of pay or salaries, what's another word that's kind of the same as salaries I might see in the passage, starts with a W. Oa says another one could be income, yeah, and there's another one as well, instead of income. Yeah, very good, Sandeep Yadav. It's wages, right? So possibly wages as well instead, okay? One difference in English between wages and salaries. Wages, we think about an hourly wage, like $10 an hour. And for salaries, we often think of a monthly salary, like $2,000 a month, okay? So take note of that kind of difference, but they are more or less synonymous. So salaries and wages, we use them as synonyms. Income is kind of general to those. Pay is general as well, okay? So, but often when you say wage, people will say, oh, what's your hourly wage? Or what's your monthly salary? What's your hourly wage? What's your monthly salary? In Canada, most jobs work on a wage system. You have an hourly wage, not a monthly salary. That way people don't take advantage of workers. Okay. Questions 35 to 40. True, false, not given. Not going to worry about those because I can't do true, false, not given right now. I don't have any idea if it's given or if it's false or if it's true, so I'm going to leave the true, false, not given. And with this question, we have a student favorite, list of headings. So we have a list of headings question here as well. Ah, Sabesh, you're melting my heart. I'm blushing. Okay, so you have a list of headings as well. List of headings, it's an interesting one because you have extra information, but you should read this before the passage because they give it to you before the passage. So list of headings you want to read as well. Incentives to leave professional occupations. So motivation to quit. We also call them white collar jobs. Those would be like dentist, doctor, lawyer. So motivation to quit white collar jobs. Okay, professional occupations. A currency on par with the American dollar. So money equal to the US dollar. Okay, so again, as I'm reading these list of headings, I'm thinking about different ways to say these ideas, because you might not find the exact same words in each paragraph. Now, the goal for list of headings is you have to match the correct heading or subtitle with each paragraph. Okay, and oftentimes the title or the subtitle is paraphrased. So you're not going to see American dollar, but you'll see US dollar. Okay, you might not see currency on par, but you'll see money is equal to. Okay, so that's why you want to think about different ways, and that also builds your lexical resource as well. Okay, all right. A shock to a stagnant economy, Abhishek says, a surprise to a still economy. Yeah, so we see that word again, stagnant, right? Unmoving. Okay, very nice. So we keep going that way. Short on money, long on health. So poor, but very healthy. A trade embargo causes problems. So trade restrictions leads to challenges. Two monetary systems in one country, two types of money in Cuba. Tourists outspend locals, causing food shortages. Tourists have more money spending on food, so leads to a lack of food, maybe some starvation. Ever increasing tourism, so ongoingly more and more tourists. Measures that can be taken to help the problem, so solutions to fix the situation. Tourism causes food shortages, so tourists lead to not enough food. Okay. As best as you can, okay? It doesn't have to be perfect. Just go through them, paraphrase as best as you can, all right? Okay, so far so good. So we looked at the questions. We have some more ideas. We're thinking about all the negatives that tourism is causing in Cuba as well. And now we read. And I'm going to give you some more tips and strategies for these questions while we're reading. So definitely don't skip the title. Yes, I saw somebody right there. Oh, just skip the title. The title is like the summary to the entire. It's like going on a safari without knowing that you're going on a safari, and then being like, oh, there's a giraffe. Oh, there's an elephant. What are we doing? Oh, yeah, we're on a safari. Nobody told you that at the beginning? So read the title, okay? Know what you're going to be looking at. Don't just collect information piece by piece. That doesn't make sense. Okay, so here we go, everyone. Read with me. This is a reading class, so don't just listen. Also read. And learn. So read, and read aloud if you can. Read aloud. Aloud means, like me, vocalizing, verbalizing. Okay? All right? Okay, so here we go. Tourism and the Cuban economy. Cuba is a fascinating country because it is seemingly stuck in something of a time warp. Because of a trade embargo with the United States since 1958 and a strict communist and communitarian social system, economic growth has been virtually non-existent over the past several decades. In the past few years, however, the Cuban economy has undergone a significant change due to the influx of tourists to the country. Unfortunately, the impact of the burgeoning tourism industry is not uniformly positive, and its negative aspects have unexpected effects on the people far away from the tourist resorts. Okay? All right. So the first step here, you're solving list of headings questions while you are reading. Okay, that's my first tip here. So list of headings questions. Okay, first tip, do these questions while you read. All other question types you should answer only after you finish the passage. Okay, so list of headings, do them while you read. Second step is, so while you read after each paragraph is what I mean by that. Okay, so after each paragraph. Okay, next, after you read a paragraph, ask yourself, what is this paragraph about? Answer in a clear and concise way. So here's our example. What is this paragraph about? So Abhishek says tourism and the Cuban economy. Okay. Abhishek says the trade between Cuba and use of prohibited, which is negative on tourism. I'm not clear on what you mean there. Ois says a Cuban communist economy. So we have lots of different ideas. Try to be simple a little bit, okay? So step back and be a little bit, don't overthink it, okay? So Chavez says about tourism and the Cuban economy. Yeah, okay, so you want to be clear and you want to be complete. Okay, tourism and the Cuban economy is not complete. There's a missing part. Okay, so what's missing? So the first paragraph is about tourism and the Cuban economy, but it's more than that. The title gives us that. This first paragraph gives us a little bit more than that. Okay, so Yarabisha says the background of the Cuban economic conditions. Yeah, so Cuban economy background. I agree. There's definitely some background information, so that should be added. Okay, Tarlan says the stagnant economy. So Cuban, I don't think it's just the stagnant. Okay, what else? Don't overthink it. Okay, maybe stagnant, you could put that in there, but I don't think it's quite necessary because it says some other information. Diaz says it's the interaction between tourism and the Cuban economy. Tourism and the Cuban economy background. Tourism's okay, so if I wanted to give a nice complete answer to this question, what is this first paragraph about? I would say it's tourism's negative effects and interaction with the Cuban economy and its background. Okay, so that's what I would say it's about. Does everybody agree with me that this is basically the information in that paragraph in one sentence? So I put it together. It doesn't have to be perfect. If I wanted to use beautiful English here, I would say it's about Cuba's economic history and the effect of modern day tourism on this economy. That's what I would say. So that phrase it more beautifully. But here I just kind of put it together. Okay. So now once I have this, okay, so step number 3, once you have your answer, find the closest match from the list of headings, and it will be the correct answer. Okay? If there is no close match, what do you think happened? So if let's answer this first. You'll see we should find a close match. Okay? And then if there's no close match, we'll figure out what's going on. Okay? So let's go back to our list of headings. Okay? So incentives to leave professional occupations, a currency on par with the American dollar, a shock to a stagnant economy, short on money, long on health, a trade embargo causes problems, two monetary systems in one country, tourists outspend locals causing food shortages, ever-increasing tourism, measures that can be taken to help the problem, tourism causes food shortages. What do you think is the correct answer here? Okay. So Van Nguyen, you're wrong. CAB Thug, you're wrong. Yarabisha, you're wrong. Ferdovs, you're wrong. Furkan, you're wrong. Find the closest match. This is not the closest match. Okay. This is why I said to you very importantly that you have to have the whole idea, not just part of the idea. Okay. Good job, Catherine. Yeah, Catherine Pang, I think was the first one. Mahmoud, very good. Good job. Rashika, Abhishek, nicely done. Kadam, yeah. It's a shock to a stagnant economy. Okay. So you see why? So that's the most complete answer. Tourism's impact on Cuba's economic history. Cuba's economic history is a stagnant economy because of the trade embargo, and the shock to tourism, to Cuba's stagnant economy, is the modern day tourism. Okay? So is it clear now? Okay, Keshavan, do you get it? Why it's that? It's number 3. So the paraphrasing is tricky, but it's clear as long as you have the right idea. You cannot just skim and scan for that answer. You have to understand what the paragraph is about. Okay? If you understand what the paragraph is about. This is only a partial answer. Okay? So if you're looking at an answer and you think, I think number 5 might be okay, but then you're like, that's not really all of the paragraph. That's just a part of it. You're probably looking at the wrong answer. Okay? So let me emphasize. So if there's no close match, you have the wrong idea of the paragraph. Okay, so let me actually separate this out a little bit and do it this way, okay? So careful. I'm going to do it like this. Careful. Let me just move that back. If there's no close match, you have the wrong idea of the paragraph. If you think, yeah, it looks okay, but only represents part of the paragraph, it is probably or most likely not the right choice. Okay, so you have to pay attention to those, all right? Make sense? Okay. All right, so the first paragraph is the introduction. It includes several ideas. It's more complex than just an embargo on Cuba. Okay, we're not talking about an embargo. We're talking about the overall concept of tourism and the impact on history. Okay, all right, let's keep going. We'll practice with each paragraph, and then it'll become better. Okay, so you'll do better and better. No worries. Let's do this together. Here we go. So, paragraph B. Okay, same steps. We read the paragraph. We ask what it's about. Do it with me, read with me, aloud, okay? Perhaps the most notable fact about the Cuban economy is that the average salary for most occupations, even professional occupations such as doctors and lawyers is no more than £20 per month. However, because of relatively strict price controls on products, as well as a strong social apparatus, education, healthcare, etc., and a history of monthly food rations from the state, the Cuban people perform quite well on international human wellness surveys and studies. Tourism, however, has begun to eat away at this delicately balanced system. Okay, so what is this paragraph about? Okay, so again, what is this paragraph about? Okay, can everybody hear me? It looks like I have sound on my end. All right. So what is this paragraph about? Okay, let's keep going with a couple examples here. Give you my answer once I see a few answers. Pramay says they don't have a lot of money, but they have good health. Mahmoud says low incomes of the population. Prita says the audio is fine. The life of Cubans. And what is the life of Cubans, Surya? Yeah. So Surya, you're right. It's life of Cubans. How would you describe their life? Okay. Kashirsha says it's a unique and fragile economic system. Okay, and how would you describe that, Kashirsha? Celine says health professionals are not paid enough. That's only part of it. Okay. Sachin says equality. It's not good, students, when you have 20 different answers for the same paragraph. That's a red light. That's like, wee, something's going wrong. Okay, you shouldn't have 50 different answers about the what question. Furkan says, not a lot of money, but the quality of life is good. Yeah, that's what I would describe it as, right? So... yeah, it's the life of Cubans. Modest earnings, but a decent quality of life. Do you agree with me that that's a good way to kind of... and if I wanted to end the danger of tourism, if I want it to be really complete, okay? Do you agree with me that it's mostly about this here? Okay, and then a little bit at the very end about tourism's having an impact on its delicacy. So modest earnings, but a decent quality of life, right? Pramay says, I agree. Okay, so always work on being able to summarize the idea concisely. Okay, all right, now let's find the closest match. So which one do you think is the closest match? Incentives to leave professional occupations, a currency on par. So my closest match, okay? You should never just search to see if you can find it. That's a bad strategy, okay? A currency on par with the American dollar, a shock to a stagnant short on money, long on health, a trade embargo causes problems, two monetary systems, tourists outspend locals, ever-increasing tourism, measures that can be taken, tourism causes food shortages. What's the closest match? Yeah, I would say short on money, long on health. Looks like a good answer for that one, for sure. Okay, so yeah, short on money, long on health. Yeah, I agree with you. Okay, so I think that's the closest match. So I would answer 4 and then move on. And hey, look at that. It's the example that's given for us. When you're doing a list of headings, one way to check yourself in the exam to make sure that you're thinking okay and you're not way too nervous and your brain isn't going all crazy is don't look at the example answer, okay? So kind of cover it up or ignore the example answer. And then if your example answer is good, then you can think, okay, whew, I'm doing okay, all right? If your example answer is wrong, then you should be like, ooh, okay, I gotta stop, remember some strategies I saw from Adrian, remember some logic, some critical thinking, and just take a deep breath, and then really just go again and find the right path. Okay? All right. And Euchre, that's fantastic. A band 9 on all sections, perfect score. Congratulations. That's great. Okay, so I'm going to give you that tip, okay? So here's another little tip for list of headings, okay? This is another interesting little strategy. You can do this at practice at home as well and in the official exam. So tip, okay? In your exam, ignore the answer to the example list of heading. If you get this right, you might as well try it. Then you can be confident that all is well. If you get it wrong, take a deep breath and reassess yourself. Recenter. Find your inner logic. Okay? So, there we go. All right? Okay? Everybody's good? Yeah? Let's do C. Here we go. Okay. So here we go. Students do get 9s, so some of you are skeptical, but I've had several students in the past get perfect scores on the IELTS. Some students really put in the time and the effort. They have good, strong, solid base English, and then they use some good English together with logic and good communication skills and score 9. It's possible. Okay, so here we go, everyone. Let's do this. C. Again, reading. Read with me, okay? Here we go. In order to extract as much money from tourists as possible, the Cuban government instituted a parallel currency for non-Cubans. The Cuban convertible peso was created in 1994 but came into wide usage in 2004. Valued on par with the American dollar, this peso is worth 25 times more than the lower value Cuban peso. Because the convertible peso is overwhelmingly used in tourist locations, the people who work in these locations, hotels, bars, restaurants, receive far more of these than people outside of the main tourist spots. Workers in the hospitality industry can then take the convertible pesos to the bank and get Cuban pesos at a rate of approximately 25 to 1. This may sound unproblematic, but this is not the case. The problem is that the Cubans who have access to the convertible peso are at a huge advantage over those who do not. Because the monthly salary for Cubans is so low, even a small monthly bump in the income of those in the hospitality industry creates shockwaves in the economy. What results is a two-tiered economy, those who have access to the convertible peso and those who do not. But the problem is worse than this because professionals make just the meager... Oh, I'm on D. Let's stop there. Whew, I forgot to ask what this paragraph is about and answer my question. I got to check myself. So let's stop there. Okay, so as a two-tiered economy, those who have access to the convertible peso and those who do not. All right, putting an end to my idea there. What is this paragraph about? Keshavan says it's all about salary, hospitality, economy. Ferdab says it's a stupid solution. I don't know about that. Ferdab's, they probably thought about it a bit before deciding on it. Oa says new policy regarding Cuban pesos. Abhishek says it's two currencies in Cuba, peso and Cuban peso. Yeah, I would agree, Abhishek. That, for me, seems like what we read about. Erkin Saliev says it's a double currency system in Cuba. I love that, Erkin. Very nice and concise. So, Erkin, we're just going to take your answer and plop it into our notes here because it's so good. So, Erkin says, let me read it one more time. That was really, really good. So, Erkin says, double currency system in Cuba. That's how concise you want to be. Double currency system in Cuba. The convertible peso and Cuban peso, right? And how it affects Cubans. Right? That's what it's about. That's what we're reading about. Okay. All right. Let's check it. Which one's the closest? Okay. So which one of these matches this double currency system, as Erkin said? Find the closest match, and you will have the right answer. Okay. Which one is it? Tell me. Tell me. I'm curious. I'm dying to know. I'm doing great, Kyber. Welcome into the class. Mahmoud says, it's 6. Yarabisha says, it's 6. Erkin, who came up with that answer, says it's 6. And Erkin, you will get it right. Okay? 6 it is. Yeah. 2 monetary systems in one country. Cuba, double currency system, right? You paraphrase that, Erkin, beautifully. Okay? You should not make a mistake there. So you put Roman numeral 6, and you go on to paragraph D. Okay? Step by step. Now, of course, you're doing this quite fast in the IELTS. I'm just showing you here in a very elaborate and precise way. Okay? All right. So 6 it is. Let's go to D. Nice short paragraph. Here we go. But the problem is worse than this because professionals make just the meager monthly salary. They have a huge incentive to give up medicine and move to a tourist center. There, they can adopt any sort of occupation, taxi driver, bartender, even a hotel room cleaner, and make far more money than they did as a doctor. This is clearly not in the interest of the country. What is this paragraph about? Okay, what is this paragraph about? It's a short paragraph. It's a little bit tricky to think about the answer. So what is it about? Hopefully somebody comes up with a nice, concise answer, just like Erkin did for the last one. Okay. Kyber says about professionals. Kyber, that's only part of the answer. Okay. Sundar says disparity among earnings. That's also only part of the answer. Abhishek Kadam says different professionals have different wages. That's not accurate, Abhishek. Furkan says professionals riot. It did not say that. Okay. Honey says the disadvantages of tourism on the professional sector. I love it, Honey. There you go. That's some clever thinking, Honey. So the disadvantages of tourism on the professional sector in Cuba. Would everybody agree that that's basically what that paragraph is about? That Honey has the best concise answer. Okay? It's the disadvantages of tourism on the professional sector in Cuba. Sundar says, yeah, I agree with that. Celine Randy says, yeah, I agree. Honey, I agree with you. I think you're right. Okay? That's what I would summarize it as. Okay? And then I would look for the closest answer. Okay? So what's the right answer here? Tell me, what is the closest possible answer to this one? Okay? What is that disadvantage? Okay, what's the closest match? You're always looking for the closest match. Oh, look at all those beautiful ones coming up. Yeah, you're right. Okay. Incentives to leave the professional occupations is the disadvantage of tourism on professional occupations. Okay. Absolutely. Okay. So number one. Okay. One it is. Beep. Put that in there. You'll get it right. And look at all of you getting it correct. You basically, when you have the right question, when you have the right answer, then you have the right mark and you're increasing your band scores. Okay, that's how it works. Okay, let's read paragraph E and F together, and then you can do those later on your own. Here we go, everyone. Let's finish up this passage with me. So let's read E together nice and loud. So a second major problem with the increase in tourism is the pressure it exerts on what is a very limited food production system, made even more difficult by the embargo with the United States. Cuba has been suffering increasingly significant food shortages. Because the tourist resorts buy up all the good produce and meat and can afford to outspend the average Cuban due to their income from the convertible peso, the Cuban people are left with an ever-decreasing amount and quality of foodstuffs. Without further intervention by the state, Cuba may soon face crisis-level food shortages due in large part to the influx of tourists to the island nation. It is difficult to say what can be done to help solve the pressures that tourism places on the Cuban economy. One step that may be taken soon is to reunify the two currencies, either by collapsing the convertible peso back into the regular peso or by creating a new single currency. The status quo is clearly unsustainable and tourism is always increasing. So it is clear that something must be done before a crisis engulfs the Cuban people. Now, good news, everyone, because of COVID, there's probably a temporary solution to this. No, it's terrible, but somewhat true. Okay, so I'll let you figure out these last two paragraph headings on your own using the strategies that I taught to you in this class. You can send your answers, so you can go back and watch the video later and figure out the answers, and then you can send your answers to me, Adrian at aehelp.com, and I can send you back the correct answer key. See how you did, okay? So do those on your own. Students, for lots of great tips, strategies, we have many students who succeed on IELTS every day. We are world leaders when it comes to IELTS preparation. aehelp.com for academic, gieltshelp.com for general. Please check us out there. Make sure to try our full premium courses for the best results. Now, here's just an interesting point for everyone on this topic. So I know some of you commented, like, that's a pretty dumb system to have a convertible peso and the Cuban peso. In Cuba, of course, it's illegal to use American dollar. That's a law in Cuba. You cannot use American dollar. However, in many parts of the world, tourist resorts use American dollar instead of a convertible currency. So many other countries have kind of a double system as well, one being the American dollar for tourism, and then the other being the local currency. So this is not just a problem of Cuba, but other countries have this problem as well. Always think critically, and you'll realize that nobody's ever alone with such challenges in the world. Even in Canada, it's sometimes tricky for us to deal with the American dollar. Okay, sometimes it's strong, sometimes it's weak. People like to use both. Okay, so that's it for today. I will be back tomorrow with speaking part 2, part 3, strategies and success. Make sure to join me. Keep your chin up, keep pushing forward, stay healthy, stay beautiful. Much love to all of you. I'm Adrian, signing out from Central Europe for now. See you tomorrow. Bye.